A lot of people know they want to create something, but they don't know what. They know they want to build. They know there is something more inside them. But when it comes time to choose the business, write the book, create the product, start the channel, or make the thing, they freeze. So they look outside them. What business or businesses are working right now? What niche should I choose? What is everybody else doing? What can I make money from? And sometimes the more answers they collect, the further away they move from themselves. So in this video, I want to show you a different way to think about expression. We are going to look at how your past, what you are learning now, the patterns that keep following you, and the problems you naturally notice can all give you clues about what may need to come through you. And by the end, I'm going to give you a simple expression inventory you can use to take those clues and turn them into something real. Like a page, a prototype, a business idea, a service, a video, a system, something you can actually build from. This is the second movement of 1331, the second three, which is expression. And expression is much bigger than speaking. It's much bigger than posting online. It's much bigger than just being creative. Expression is how something inside you begins to take form outside of you. A thought becomes a sentence. A lesson becomes teaching. A problem becomes a product. An experience becomes a framework. An idea becomes technology. Expression is not performance. Excuse me. It is translation. And one of the first places I think we can look for clues is backwards, behind us, in our past. Before you cared about status, before you knew what a career was supposed to look like, before somebody told you what was practical, what did you naturally move towards? Maybe you always wrote. Maybe you built things. Maybe you took things apart just to understand how they worked. Maybe you organized everyone. Maybe you drew. Maybe you told stories. Maybe you sold things. Maybe you explained things. Maybe you were the person people came to when something needed solving. Now, that does not mean what you did at 8 years old is automatically your destiny. Your childhood is not a prophecy, but it is data. There may be patterns there. It may link up with something in your future. And sometimes those patterns were present before the world became loud enough to tell you who you were supposed to be. But we're not only going to look backwards. I want you to look at what is happening inside you now. What are you learning right now? What subjects have started pulling your attention? What new skills have you suddenly become curious about? What are you reading about when nobody is telling you to? What are you researching late at night because something about it will not let you leave it alone. Sometimes a new area of learning wakes up a part of you that you did not have a language to express before. And that matters. Because you are not only made from your past, you are still being developed in the present. And I can see this in my own life with books. I do not normally begin with, I need to write a book. I'm learning. I'm reading other people's work. I'm experiencing things in the world. I'm noticing principles reoccurring in different places. I'm connecting ideas. Then I spend time thinking about them. And eventually, new thoughts start forming from everything that I've been taking in. And at some point, those thoughts need a body. For me, sometimes that body is a book. The learning becomes reflection. The reflection becomes thought. The thought becomes writing. That is expression. But not every thought inside me needs to become a book. When I was looking at problems in the world and was drawn towards privacy technology, the expression needed a different body. That eventually led towards Specular Free, which is my startup. The problem did not need another paragraph from me. It needed technology. It needed a product. Same person, different expression. And 1331 itself is another example. Years of learning, thinking, building, correcting, watching patterns in myself, watching patterns in business, trading, technology, writing, life. Eventually, I needed a way of bringing those things together that needed language. Then that language needed structure. And that became the Builder's Code. Again, the inside needed a body. This is why I think one of the biggest mistakes we make is asking, what should I create? Too early. A better question might be, what has been developing inside me? What have I learned? What have I lived? What do I understand differently because of those experiences? What keeps returning? What problem can I now see that I couldn't see 5 years ago? Because your expression often sits at the intersection of several things. What you naturally notice, what you have lived through, what you have learned, what you are learning now, and what you care enough about to do something with. Then comes another important question. What form should it take? Because having the right insight does not automatically mean you have chosen the right medium. Maybe the idea should be a book. Maybe it should be software. Maybe it should be a workshop. Maybe it should be a service. Maybe it should be a business. Maybe it should be a piece of art. Maybe it should be a video. Maybe it should be a system that nobody ever sees except the people who use it. Not everything needs an audience. Not everything needs to become content. The goal is not visibility. The goal is useful expression. So here's the practical exercise, and I call it 1331 expression inventory. Take a page and divide it into 4 sections. The first section is past. Ask, what did I naturally do before I cared whether it was useful, impressive, or profitable? Do not judge the answers, just collect the data. Second, patterns. What subjects, skills, ideas, and behaviors have followed me for years? And add this. What am I learning right now that has genuinely awakened my curiosity? Because some of your future expression may be developing into something you only recently discovered. Third, problems. What problems do I keep noticing? What frustrates me? Because I can see that it could be better. What do people repeatedly ask me for help with? What do I find myself naturally aiming to improve? A problem that keeps catching your attention may be pointing towards something you are capable of helping solve. Then fourth, form. I want you to look at everything you wrote and then ask, what is the smallest useful form this could take? Not the biggest, the smallest. Could it become one page, one video, a simple service, a prototype, a short guide, a conversation, a basic tool, a first version? Because expression becomes real when it becomes an artifact, something outside your head. This part matters. Do not spend 3 months aiming to discover your perfect purpose. Build something small enough to learn from. Because sometimes you do not discover your expression by thinking harder. You discover it by expressing. You make the thing first. You put it out there. You see how it feels. You see whether it helps. You learn. You correct. And that work that you're doing starts teaching you something about yourself. Because something that I took from Myron Golden was, if it's not working for you, it's working on you, which is just as important. This is where expression starts moving towards structure. Identity asks, who am I? Expression asks, what needs to come through me? Structure asks, how do I give it a body that can survive beyond the initial idea? And power asks, what useful consequence can that body create? So this week, as soon as you can, do the inventory. Past, patterns, problems, form. Then choose one thing and give it a body. Do not wait for certainty. Do not wait for certainty. Create the evidence. One page, one prototype, one recording, one outline, one small expression of what has been developing inside you. Because you may not even need another idea. You may need to recognize the one that has been following you. Your past contains data. Your present curiosity contains signals. The problems you notice contain possibilities. But none of them become useful until you give them form. Expression is the bridge between what is inside of you and what you are capable of leaving in the world. That is number 3. The expression 1331. Build the vision, become the structure, manifest the power.